Welcome to another impromptu healing hangout with Bree. Today has been a rather charged day for me personally. And a lot of you might be aware of the Schumann resonance. This year it has been off the charts. You can go look at the charts. Google Schumann resonance. Italy does one. I believe Russia does one. But this is measurable data. And for those of you that are anything like me, in the sense that for me and my human, I need to have a logical understanding of what's going on. Otherwise, I feel unsafe. And so when I realized we were shifting into the fifth dimension, it really helped me to actually see it scientifically and start to understand quantum physics, to start to understand the quantum realm. This might be an area for you to explore if you haven't yet. But I've been getting hella downloads this whole year, and a lot of it has to do with bloodlines, to the point where I've been a little scared by some of the information, including about the Christed line, including about the Anunnaki, and it got a little too real for me for a while. So today I kept getting, and this is something that I've asked of my guides, and my guides have instilled with me, which is if something is really important for me to bring through, they will repeat it 3 times. So they started coming through in my mind saying healing the bloodlines, healing the bloodlines, healing the bloodlines. And then all of a sudden I was singing it out loud to my daughter. IRL. And so I was drawn to come grab some of my oracle decks to get some more information on this. I do feel that all this healing work comes down to anything that we're finding along the path as we continue to unfold these mysteries, is whatever we find, we're healing it. So we're not seeking to find the information to decide if it's good or bad. And that's something that my guides have been really training me through, to be honest with you. Because 2.5 years ago, even, I would say when I was coming out of a really dark night of the soul, I really didn't know how to live sustained from my heart. And a big part of that was that I was robbing myself or holding myself back from enjoyment, pleasure, joy, fun, play. Why? And welcome to this dialogue in between my ego and my higher self. Because I built all these little beliefs about what I had to be to experience those things that I just mentioned. And for me, bringing play back in really shifted me. And that included oracle decks and crystals and sound healing and frequency healing and meditation and chakra healing and sound bowls and playing guitars and painting. So all this just to say, before I start to find out what these decks have in store for us today, is be open to the subtle nudges, especially after you've shifted in consciousness. So this past weekend, I shifted in consciousness. And I just want to share with you the consciousness shift I made was that I realized a deep, deep, deep aspect of me was, and this is something I identified early on in my awakening as my protector persona, is what I've called this aspect of myself. But I've shifted that I do not need to fear the darkness, and therefore I do not need to protect against the darkness. So all of these things in healing are very much a paradox, because You will learn like Kemosabe wax on, wax off style. You're gonna learn all of these steps, okay? All of these steps. And you're gonna fine tune all of these areas. But in the end, you're not gonna actually take all of those steps. So we're deepening into the trust and surrender into each moment. And that includes those subtle nudges. For those of you that are still in a life that you don't desire to have, when you're sitting at I'm seeing all these visuals of me right now. When you're sitting at your desk and you're literally like shattered, like you have nothing left to give. You've given to everyone, you're worn out, you're just tired, you've been on the hamster wheel. You need to give yourself the permission then and there, not later. You need to give yourself permission now to do it. Like, for example, me filming this movie. I mean, I suppose it's a movie. I've been looking at a lot of movie documents, .mov, and it has me a little weirded out. Anywho, back to the heart. We're following the subtle nudges, like picking up an oracle deck and going, ooh, let's follow the next excitement. For me, this stuff's exciting. Welcome to Soul Healing with Brie. Okay, 7. Spirit's just so fun lately. Warrior woman. Just take a second with this. And I've been seeing swords. I gotta love it. Warrior woman, have you answered your deepest call? So with the bloodlines involved here, we're realizing that I would say the majority of this group watching this, we've come back to heal bloodlines. And so it's reactivating our protector and our warrior. And this isn't an aspect of ourself to be feared. It's an aspect of ourself to love. And now I'm getting 3. Align your life. And we're seeing the fragments here. All the different times in our life that we've just gone in someone else's direction instead of our own. So what about your life right now is not working out for you? That's going to be the number one question that I would recommend anyone having a spiritual awakening do. And it's not about figuring out what to cut out or negate or eliminate. It's simply, there's a small change you can make in your life right now. For me, it really was leaving my job. And it took me 6 months of convincing myself to actually do it. And so take a leap of faith. And if you can't take that leap of faith, can you do something smaller than that? So a recommendation that was made to me early on by the beautiful Mandy Morris was, and she recently handed this piece of really loving guidance along this past weekend at EME Integration. And so if you can't do that step that you know you have to take, that may feel too bold or too much for you right now, scares your nervous system, can you do a smaller version of that? So can you take some vacation days? Can you grant yourself permission to send your kids to be with friends or family or someone you trust for some time so that you can check in with yourself and still yourself enough time to figure out what's awakening within you and waiting to be shown to you. And one more card before I'm going to go back and enjoy my daughter. I'm getting 2. And by the way, be flexible with how you work with your oracle decks. I have a lot of different mechanisms of working with them. The way that they typically work, I would say more with me, is they'll kind of call to me, and that they'll start appearing to me in my mind, and then I'll start seeing numbers, as weird as that is. And sometimes I'll hear the number, but and typically if I pick up a deck, I immediately get just some numbers. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4 numbers. So in this case, we're drawing 3 cards. And if you love this, let me know, because I love doing this. So you guys are going to get me authentic. This is just me in my real life. I'm not, I know the lighting isn't great. I know the wardrobe could be improved, and maybe one day I'll get there. But for now, this is who I am. And I love who I am. So number 2. They're just so fun doing their who I am at 11:11. Okay. Pleiades. Hey, Pleiadians. Oh, I knew you were all Pleiadian. You know what? We all really are from the Pleiades, at least in some sense. Your body, for sure, because of Mu and Lemuria. Go down that rabbit hole if you haven't already. But the Pleiades is really the best way I can describe this in human context is the Pleiades to me feels really heavenly. It's a realm that is unconditional love, and I always experience it as at least some form of pink light. So look at this fun read that we just got with all the pink light in the Pleiades. And yes, the Pleiades can look blue, but the way that we experience these energies are going to be experienced through the energetic, I would say, soul lenses. That's an interesting way to describe it. But we've all had incarnations, you could call it, and it's not even the right word for it. That's not the right word for it. Okay, this is right. We all have aspects of our energy, of our soul, that have sources, or you could say seeds, in the different star systems. So just be open to relating to these energies, whether you're drawn towards Pleiadian, or you're drawn towards Arcturian, or you're drawn towards Lyran, or you're drawn towards Andromedan, or you're drawn towards Sirius A, Sirius B. This is a new energy for me that I've been interacting with. Well, not new. I always have. But I, for a large portion of my life, closed myself off to it. So if you feel called to birds, I love really watching birds. Me and my mom used to watch birds all the time. And that's a very Sirian energy. And Sirian and Pleiadian energy they have a lot of overlaps, I would say. All of them have overlaps, quite frankly. But Lyran, to me, is much more of the power aspect. Arcturian is very intelligent on all levels. Emotional, mental. They're very architectural. So if you're an architect, then you probably have Arcturian energy running a lot of your consciousness. But I hope that you all had fun with this today. I sure did. And if you want me to do more of these, let me know. I hope that you can take away from this that it is safe to trust your intuition. It's that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's safe to follow your heart. It's safe to drop from your head to your heart again and again and again and again. We don't have to get it right. Just try. It's an intention. We're setting the intentions. We're surrendering. We're setting the intentions. We're surrendering. We're falling into the softness of it. We're falling into the grace of it. And we're allowing source to flow through every cell. Every cell. Wherever we see darkness, there are cells within that darkness that can be reactivated with source light. You can send source light. It is your protection, always. I love you all. See you in the